howdy, y'all. How's everyone doing? Amy, Crazy, good to see you both. Okay, since I'm on case 3, it's got the Gatewaterland entrance in the background. Objection! Looks like we got the boot again. With Lance safe, the focus of the investigation will shift solely onto the murder. You mean the infighting between the kidnappers? Yes, and also the identity of the remaining kidnapper. Miles, my boy! Tell me it's true! Tell me you really found my boy! Yes, Mr. Amano. We found him earlier in the stadium. And my little Lance is unhurt? He's not exactly the picture of perfect health, but his life is not in danger. He's being questioned right now by Agent Lang. Poor Lance. It must have been so horrible for him. Locked up like... Miles, my boy, I can't thank you enough. It was nothing. I'm still in shock over what happened to Oliver. But I have to say I'm relieved that Lance is alright. Oh, that's right. I mustn't forget to pass this on to Lance as soon as the police are finished with him. A letter? Ah, the way Lance is being chased after by women reminds me of someone I know. I almost can't believe he received yet another love letter, you know. Here, take a look for yourself. Isn't this a breach of confidentiality? It's a very simple love letter. Oh, hey, let me see. That's really weird. It's from a loan company, Tender Lender. Looks more like a collection bill to me. He loves me not. He loves me not. Oh, that's the 12th one. No, you can't give up, Lauren. Just one more try. Excuse me, but I can't help but feel a bit sorry for all the flowers you've gone through. The poor flowers. I suppose they were me then. I believe you said that you're Lance's girlfriend when we first met, correct? Yes, I am, but it's not like we both think of each other as lovers. But he did give me this ring, so I guess we're not just friends either. I mean, because this isn't just the ordinary ring. It tastes so sweet when you look at it. It's so wonderful. You mean to tell me that he gave you a lollipop ring? So which is it? Have you guys not decided if you're going out, or is it just one-sided? Decided? Shouldn't the parties involved naturally just know?
My father used to work for Mr. Amano, and so Lance and I grew up together. I said it out loud.
I don't see how that's anything to be embarrassed about. So your father was an employee of the Amano group? What did he do?
I heard his job was to fly around the world on Pegasus.
Pegasus?
Oh, Pegasus was the name of the airplane. The airplane belonged to the company.
You had me there for a second. Pegasus. Alright. I gotta say, Pegasus is a pretty sick name for a private jet, though.
Now, it's all changed. My father, he isn't around anymore.
Oh, I see.
About 10 years ago, he rode in Pegasus off to somewhere and never returned.
Riding Pegasus to whereabouts unknown. Sounds like the stuff legends are made of.
It's been so long, I don't think I'd recognize him if we were to ever meet again.
I'm so sorry, Lauren.
But I won't get into the sadness. I have to live. Yes, Lauren, live.
About this incident.
Incident? But isn't the kidnapping already over and dealt with? I've been here the whole time, so I'm afraid I don't know much about any other incident.
How did you come to know that Lance had been kidnapped?
Oh, that's because my woman's intuition.
You based everything on that?
I know everything when it comes to my Lance. It's really strange. Really must be destiny.
She started fantasizing again.
So what are you gonna do now, Mr. Edgeworth?
I already established there's a good chance that the killer is the other kidnapper. It's my duty to figure out who this other person is. I believe there's one location that might hold a clue or two. Her intuition is pretty shitty if she can't tell what a lollipop ring is. Yeah, the ring pop. The obvious location is the kidnapper's hideout.
But we're still not allowed in, remember?
Agent Lang and his men should be done with this area. In that case, there's no harm in asking that officer over there to let us in. Alright, first though, I believe there's an Easter egg if we go this way. Yes, okay. Come over here to the bridge. Oh my, who's that? This bridge doesn't look old enough to be the stuff of legends.
Well, some things are better left uninvestigated, don't you think?
Yeah, they're just out there. This is the only cameo I believe they have. This man looks suspiciously like the precinct. The blue badger's scary ass face. I was the one who created the blue badger. See, look at his eyes. Don't they look just like Daddy's?
It's scary.
Well, that was rather depressing. I think I'd better leave the two of them alone. And yes, Edgeworth was right. It was the chief of the Criminal Affairs Department. Old Bag gets to be a witness, and Phoenix, Maya, and Pearls just get a cameo. Yeah. They really go out of their way to, like, not mention Phoenix by name, too. You notice how Edgeworth always says, that man. Like, I don't know why they decided to go that route with this game, but that's what it was. This isn't justice for all. Where have I heard such redundancy before? Is it possible for you to let us take a look around inside? That was surprisingly hassle-free. That was easy. Are you certain? Didn't Agent Lang order you not to allow me in? That's true, sir, but... Detective Gumshoe asked me personally to let you in, sir. I couldn't refuse a request from him. Wow, looks like Detective Gumshoe has a following. What's this? The man in this picture. Isn't this Mr. Oliver Deacon? Colin Devereux. Whereabouts unknown after his escape from Penitent Prison. Penitent, yeah. Stole a gun from a guard during his escape. That's the same name as the one on the back of the pendant. It appears that Colin Devereux was his real name. What's this? He was convicted in a case 10 years ago and sent to prison.
What? Then what was he doing here?
Apparently, he broke out of jail and then just vanished. He must have become Oliver Deacon to cover up the fact that he was an escaped felon. And if we look closer at it, we thought he might head for where his wife and sole daughter are, but despite our surveillance, he's yet to show up.
Now I'm not sure what's going on anymore.
Is there some sort of link between the victim's past and this current case? These police documents are rather detailed. I should take the time to give them a thorough read eventually. It's fine. Let's focus on one thing at a time, starting with the kidnapper's hideout.
Yeah, I agree. We should investigate first, think later.
More than thinking things through, I think you should try remembering things first. A link to the past? Guess we'll need to find out. Sir, the door was locked down tight when they went to check out the room. So they got about 10 officers to help out and break the door down, sir. I see. I guess that means I get Agent Lang's leftovers. Well, let's see what we find. So this is where the kidnappers planned their foul deed. Man, they had a coffee machine and everything.
Well, you were tied up for a while in the room next door.
Kay, please, must you bring that up again? Now then, down to business. There might still be some clues left in this room. Let's try to find out what we can of the other kidnapper's identity.
Hey, there's a trap door in this room too.
It's not a trap door, it's an entrance to an underground passage, Kay.
I know that.
The door leading to the outside world was locked, so Lance must have escaped his prison through here.
Line these up did it perfectly. They're not even a single hair off. I feel bad using these because it'd be like stealing the perfection away.
I suspect it's more like you wouldn't be the one to put them away.
Watch out, Mr. Edgeworth!
It's a broken mirror. It probably came from the haunted house. Why is this here? Are they planning to repair it? This jumping animation. She definitely brings a decidedly different atmosphere to a criminal investigation. Hello! I wonder what this key is to.
You got me.
It reminds me of the key we found in the other room.
That's it! This must be the key for one of those trap doors.
That wasn't a trap door. You only call it one because you quite literally jumped into it.
Hey, but isn't that what you're supposed to do when you see one?
I'm not having this conversation with you. Yeah, it kinda is Chun-Li's winning animation. Cheap styrofoam cups.
Looks like only 3 cups were used.
The coffee looks like it was poured today. It's not especially catchy, is it? Folding chairs, and by the looks of it, they were probably used by the kidnappers.
There are 3 chairs set around the table.
So in other words, there weren't just 2 kidnappers, there were 3. The common denominator between the cups and the folding chairs is the number 3. Speaking of which, the number of missing costumes is also 3.
Wait, but I thought there were only 2 kidnappers.
Indeed, something isn't adding up. Literally. Is it possible there's a 3rd kidnapper that Lance didn't see? This must be where they dispose of old and worn-out costumes.
That's so sad.
It would seem that they throw the costumes away in pieces. Well... Must you keep reminding me?
But it's the room where I got to see your awesome face!
You didn't need to remind me of that mortifying moment either. Sorry about the sudden DRD there.
Barrel! These were real. What would you put in them?
There's an expectant gleam in her eyes that I'm about to dash. This door is thoroughly broken thanks to the police who forced it open. Be careful where you step, Kay.
I only fell into the other opening once, you know. That doorknob handle thingy's looking pretty beat up.
I suppose that's what happens when 10 officers break their way in with brute force.
Hey, that's odd. The lock on this is completely fine. Look, not a single dent.
But how is that possible after what that officer told us?
Yeah, if the lock had been in use when the door was busted down, then the lock itself should be completely wrecked.
So the lock on the door leading to the outside is undamaged. How can that be?
Looks like a sword. A broken sword.
Strange. Why would it be broken like that? As God is my witness, it is broken in half! Swords don't usually break on their own.
It's true.
Alright then, let's think about it this way. Maybe it broke when someone was trying to use it for or on something. Hypotheticals aren't going to get us anywhere. Perhaps we should think more on this later. It's a bit strange that the police had to force their way into an unlocked room. One look at the pristine door lock and anyone can see it was not in use at the time.
But the policeman outside said it took 10 men to get it open.
A door that was locked tight, despite it being not locked at all. It can only be because of this.
Oh, you mean that...
Yes, it was used to jam the door. Here, take a look at the door handle. You see how the handle's completely destroyed?
So that's how the sword broke.
I thought that we might uncover the true identity of the kidnappers. But instead, we've only uncovered more questions that need to be answered. What?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, am I correct?
What are you doing suddenly popping out of the secret entrance like that?
This is an underground passage used by staff members, sir. We Badgers also make use of it in our duties. Look, why don't you get out of there first and then we'll talk, okay? Beg your pardon, miss.
What are you getting all excited about?
did you forget? The photo rally, duh! See, look! Now all I have to do is get a picture of the Bad Badger and I'm done!
Ah, yes, I vaguely recall a contest or something of that sort. What happened? What's wrong?
A Bad Badger costume is missing, sir! Oh, is that all? Well, it's missing because the kidnapper stole it. I heard about how they were stolen, but they said that only 3 of the costumes had been taken.
What? Is he saying that more than 3 of them are gone? Mr. Proto Badger, please tell me a little more about these costumes you use.
They're all bad badgers. They look nothing like badgers. Also, howdy, bat.
Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom, badger, 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 badger. And now you all have brain rot. You're welcome. What did you mean by a Bad Badger costume is missing?
Why, just what I said, sir. We're 1 Bad Badger short. Counting the spares, we have 2 of each costume on hand at all times. Okay, so because one of them is walking around in the park,
the other should be in that room.
Actually, both of them should be in that room. Huh? What do you mean? Normally, we don't use the Bad Badger costumes. In fact, we only use them during a certain event at a set time each day.
Can't have brain rot when the brain is already rotted. Yeah, hun?
It's the stage show where the Bad Badger wreaks havoc around the park, and the other badgers must work together to apprehend him, sir.
I'm speechless that such a show exists.
Well, sir, I was just trying to explain to you the only time we use that costume. Then doesn't that make it near impossible to take a picture of the Bad Badger? Personally, I can't believe that it's this close to showtime and there's no costume. Oh dear, what am I to do, sir?
All this basically means is that the kidnappers stole 4 costumes in total.
Then, are you saying that there are 4 kidnappers?
No, I don't think that's very likely. Recall the costumes for a minute.
The stolen ones, you mean?
What proves that a 4th kidnapper doesn't exist?
Take that!
If you had 4 people and you wanted to steal a 4th costume, wouldn't you naturally go for the full set and steal a Pink Badger costume instead?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yet, the kidnappers decided to steal another Bad Badger. I believe the culprits needed 2 Bad Badger costumes, but the question is, why? The second Bad Badger costume. I believe it may be closer at hand than we think.
What do you mean?
That costume in the trash. Wouldn't you say that it's wearing some very telltale pants?
Hey, you're right! Let's get it out of there and take a look!
As I suspected, it's a Bad Badger costume.
Well, minus the head.
The head's in the next room over.
Look! Its hand is hurt!
Looks more like something was ripped off of it.
Maybe it's a flesh wound from a fight with the blue badger. It's just a flesh wound. I somehow doubt that even real badgers are as bloodthirsty as that guy. You haven't met honey badgers, Edgeworth. They will fight God and lions. Clearly, they've taken out the gun. Eureka! I believe what we have here is an inconsistency. Between what? Look carefully. Our costume is not holding something in its right hand that it should be. Oh, the gun! Precisely. The bad badger was designed to always hold a gun in his right hand. However... You there, did you remove the gun from this bad badger's right hand? Gun! That should be on sound alerts, Bat, if it's working. No, I didn't, sir. The gun's supposed to be securely attached to the costume. As I thought, the rip itself confirms my hypothesis that the gun was forcibly removed. Mr. Proto-Badger, the gun is, of course, not a functioning weapon, correct? Absolutely not, sir. It's just a model gun. However, it can fire blanks. Gun! Gun! We need to use them for the stage show. Seems that our kidnappers also had a need for the model gun, my dear costumed friend. I think we're about done with this room. So, what's next? Well, we found a few answers. But there are still a few things left that we have to ask a certain person about. Let's go, Kay. Mr. Edgeworth, sir! You gotta hurry, sir! Come on! What is it, Detective? They found a blue badger costume down in front of the main gate, sir! What? Isn't that what one of the kidnappers was wearing? Bingo! That's why you gotta come to the main gate with me right now! If we hurry, we still might be able to get there before Wolf Boy does, sir! Alright, let's make haste to the main gate. Sound alerts apparently updated the appearance of things. Oh, I wasn't looking. Did it look different? I wasn't looking at my XSplit window at that particular moment. Where's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Just on the other side of the fountain, sir! They completely changed the menu, huh? Was it out here in the open all along? No, it was discovered in the tall grass back there. And throw it into the tall grass! Yeah, the menu for picking them out. That's what I figured you meant by menu. Huh. I would rather cut my dick off and throw it into the tall grass. Not interested. And let's get down to it. Well, the obvious thing here... What do we have here? Oh, it's another pendant! That's 2 treasures in one day! How lucky is that? And hey, this pretty baby's made of platinum silver too!
Excuse me, why?
Another pendant on top of the one we found on Mr. Deacon? Is it possible that these two... Hold it right there!
Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor. You sure know how to cross the line, don't you? Ah! A pendant, huh? This is a very decisive piece of evidence. How can you tell? Look here and read off what you see.
Lauren, hey, a name is engraved on this.
Aha! We have you now, Miss Kidnapper.
No, you don't understand.
Lolly, I can't believe you were one of my kidnappers.
Lance. You're kidding. Miss Pops was one of the kidnappers? Yes. It was me. I held Lance hostage.
So Miss Pops is one of the kidnappers. But even knowing that, I can't call this case solved. Or over. Hey, guys! Case closed! Get the car ready, and I mean the special one for this young lady. Hold it! Again, Mr. Prosecutor? What is it this time? Are you proposing that Miss Pops is also the culprit in the murder case? What happened? I thought Officer Meekins was your suspect. We found it. Found what? That officer's gun. He literally dropped it in the middle of a thick patch of grass. Your country's police are a sham. Just look at how careless they are. Who are you calling a sham? The officer's gun didn't show signs of having been fired, so it can't be the murder weapon. So Officer Meekins has been cleared of all charges, I see. And that's when a brand new suspect comes walking onto the scene. The murder only happened because the kidnappers started fighting amongst themselves. As I recall, it was you who said that, right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Miss Pops, did you really kill Mr. Deacon? Yes, I killed him. I can't believe it.
Thanks for the confession.
Objection!
Agent Lang, it's much too early to declare this case closed. Look at you, so sure of yourself. We've got the culprit's own confession and some very incriminating evidence. What more could you ask for? Miss Lauren Pops,
Yes.
I want to hear it from you. Tell me your side of all that's happened today, from the kidnapping to the murder.
But why? I'm a kidnapper and a killer. Isn't that enough?
It's fine if you're the one behind everything, but only if that's the truth. Now then, will you tell us the truth? Or is there some reason why you can't? I've had a change of heart. I think I'd enjoy seeing you sulk away as the losing mutt. Alright, you heard me. Let's hear about all the evil deeds you committed today.
The one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. He knew that we could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Amano would pay anything to get his son back after all. Everything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me.
There, are you satisfied? She just confessed to her crimes a second time. At least you have the guts to admit what you've done. I can at least respect that much. Miss Palps, is what you said really the truth?
Yes, it is.
If that's the truth, it certainly isn't the whole truth. Because there's something that seems a bit too improbable in her confession. This is obviously the fishy part. Why do you think he did?
I have no idea, but maybe he planned on doing so from the very beginning. Miss Pops.
Wait, Mr. Deacon planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning. Was that ever really likely to happen? I'm sorry, but I don't think what you just claimed is all that likely. I don't think Mr. Deacon would have ever been capable of killing you.
Why? We were total strangers. It's not uncommon for people to kill each other over money.
Miss Pops, you really are clueless, aren't you?
What do you mean?
You never knew what your role in the kidnapping was, nor do you know who you really are. But I do, and I can show you with this piece of evidence. This proves that Mr. Deacon wouldn't have been able to bring himself to kill Miss Pops.
Take that!
Why are you showing this to me?
So what about the pendant? This pair of wings, along with this piece of evidence, shows who you really are. These two pendants resemble each other, wouldn't you agree?
Hey, you're right. They're the same color, and they're even made of the same material.
I believe that these two pendants are actually one. Shall we give it a try?
Wow, it's totally Pegasus! But why? Why does my pendant match up with Mr. Deacon's?
You're a smart lady. I'm sure you can imagine why that might be.
But no! That can't be!
So the two make a set. It's just another trinket. It's not as though this changes anything. You lack imagination, Agent Lang. Very well, I'll show you with this evidence.
Take that!
Oliver Deacon was just an alias for this man. His real name was Colin Deveray, the name that is etched on the horse pendant. What? An alias? I suppose he had to hide the fact that he was a felon somehow in order to live. And it makes sense given what is written in Mr. Deveray's dossier. But what I really wanted to point out was this. That he had a daughter. Mr. Deveray had one daughter, and her name is Lauren Pops.
That's a lie! That person wasn't my father!
He couldn't come out and tell you he was your father because he was in hiding. However, I believe he was trying to secretly watch over you. Do you still believe that a man like that could kill the daughter he was separated from? Or even that such a man would allow his daughter to get involved in a kidnapping plot? And what is so funny, Agent Lang? You're good at making things up in your head and deciding it's the truth, aren't you? What are you trying to say? Your thinking is much too innocent. After all, I've thought of another possibility. Is that so? Well, let's hear it. I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter. But isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? It was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano. And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Wouldn't you say my scenario is perfectly probable as well? So this is his version of how things might have been. You don't have any proof that either one didn't know of their true relationship, right?
You mean they knowingly committed the kidnapping as father and daughter?
That's right, as one really rotten family.
Is that really what happened? I'd better take a long, hard look at the evidence.
I don't think so.
There should be a thing that, like, the costumes were stolen. Where is it? Here we go.
Objection!
This kidnapping wasn't planned by just two people alone. And what kind of proof do you have of that? Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers. 3?! 4 costumes were stolen from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. It all clearly points to a 3-man group. But at least it's not a blue man group. And I believe this 3rd person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping. Who? Who is this mastermind? I present to you the brains behind the kidnapping. The only other person who's involved. Lance Amano! Yes, this abduction was, in fact, schemed up by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us. Did you see the faces of your kidnappers? No, I didn't see their faces, but 2. One was a woman. It kinda is a Blue Man group since they took the Blue Badger costume. Oh shit, and the only costume they didn't take was the Pink Badger! It is Blue Man group! However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But, I know I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them. Ah, yes, about when you were being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore. Honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded, the entire time. But the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Through the underground passageway, I presume. Are you okay? Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite yet. How can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Because he's a prosecutor, and because they're all like that. Wow, Lang, racist. Okay. I'll have you know, Agent Lang, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There's a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push a little. Yeah, that's pretty clear at this point. He really hates lawyers.
Hold it!
How did you manage to escape? I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked. Which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I mustn't let it go unexamined. But it wasn't locked at all, was it?
Objection!
You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? We're talking about that room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard it took quite a few men to get that thing open, right, Sheena? Yes, that's correct. Then take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Lance, even though your hands were cuffed together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape? Why didn't I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it. As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. But you didn't, in fact, possess the key to the door. That's why you used the prop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own.
Not so fast!
You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way. And what would that be? A motive! What else? Do you honestly think that an upright, pure boy like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme such as kidnapping himself?
Objection!
This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime. Debt. To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man, too. Must be rough when you have to resort to stealing from your own old man, huh? All right, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance! It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go to you with a new town, somewhere no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that 1 million, but now that dream is over.
Lance.
Then you're giving yourself up? Yes, I'd planned to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you. Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money, that's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the Blue Badger costume. That would mean the person Officer Meekin saw was Miss Potts. But right then the old man just had to wake up. I was careless and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then Oliver put on a bad Badger costume, took the suitcase with $1 million and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her he had a gun. They had no idea they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly.
I still don't believe it. That person was not my father. Because if he was, I just killed my own father.
Lolly, then it really was you?
That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a bad Badger pulling the suitcase with $1 million in it. But that Badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot, the other person crumpled to the ground, and I ran, scared for my life.
I think the big picture's finally coming into focus, don't you? Lolly, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you.
So, Miss Pops, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was?
If what she says is true.
Are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve?
You would be surprised how often people lie without even realizing it themselves, Kay.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
What I mean is, listen very carefully to her confession once more and you'll see.
Hold it!
Were you able to clearly see the gun?
Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me?
Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't know.
I don't want to believe it myself. It's true. My father's left arm was raised with a gun in it. Pointed straight at me. I'm about to die, I thought.
Miss Pops! Please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Left arm. but he was right-handed.
Objection!
I have here a dossier on your father. And according to this, your father was right-handed. The person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon.
Not so fast!
Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The Bad Badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Isn't it possible it went down like that? Agent Lang, were you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in court to catch it. Enough with the smugness! Out with it already! Miss Pops told us earlier. According to you, the Bad Badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops?
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was the Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face.
But if that's the case, even I can see there's a huge contradiction. Yes, Miss Pops claims to have seen the Bad Badger. And yet, the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. And these two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. I don't think so. They are both correct. Impossible! That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction! Miss Pops' entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard. But what if that Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half?
Take that!
The costumes have two parts to them, a head and the body.
Oh, I get it now!
The head Miss Pops saw probably was really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the body was that in an entirely different badger? A different badger? Yes, or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger.
Take that!
What the heck is it? It's the Proto-Badger. Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Pops was wearing the Blue Badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. And the Pink Badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that's left is the Proto-Badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the Proto-Badger costume?
That would be Lance.
Not so fast!
Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the Bad Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing? And the stage that was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that, a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing that she had committed murder. Standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim, it was all done so that she would pull the trigger. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why exactly would I have had to do all that, huh? There's but one reason. Lance Amano! You are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon! What? No! That's slander! Take it back! You take it back right now! Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed, but what does that have to do with anything? It depends.
According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand.
Not so fast.
Ha! Who's what-handed doesn't prove a thing. And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Proto-Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right?
Objection.
Of course. Logically, if he had been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us. But I believe he had thought of that as well and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made sure he wouldn't be hit by a bullet.
Take that.
The model gun that's missing from the costume that only fires blanks. We found one half of a Bad Badger costume in the hideout, a broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing, plus it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the Bad Badger carries, which can fire blanks.
What?
Miss Pops, where is the gun you used now?
I threw it away into the sea.
That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although, I believe we can safely assume that it was the model gun in question.
Not so fast.
I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture.
I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high.
Okay, let's pretend you're right and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor?
I don't know yet.
Ha! I knew you were full of it.
However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame.
Please, wait a second. That's simply not possible. Because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance.
She saw the victim in the state of being restrained.
I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape.
So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right?
I thought that it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium. But then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone.
Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pops saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at that time, wouldn't you agree?
Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. You're absolutely sure you saw Mr. Deacon?
Hold it.
You are sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw?
Yes, I'm certain of what I saw.
Did you go into the other room to check?
Lance said that it was best if I didn't get too close to him. Lance is such a kind soul.
Then are you telling me that you didn't confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself?
I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a Bad Badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure. It just had to be Mr. Deacon.
She saw a Bad Badger head, so you didn't see his face.
So the tied-up Mr. Deacon was still in his bad badger costume?
Yes, and?
It would appear that she misread the whole situation. Yeah. The person you saw was not the victim.
Why not?
I will tell you why not. With this. It was left in the other room. The person you actually saw was this person. It was me.
Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth?
I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom? It's not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right? That's... You showed Miss Pops a person, namely me, with a bad badger head on, and then made your costumed escape together. Or so you pretended. Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape, and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the bad badger head from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop soul. He then escaped via the passageway. Hold your tongue, boy! Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. Tidal wave? We've heard a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cold. That's right. You were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would have still seen me tied to the beam.
I have no idea if we're in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth.
You see? It would seem you can't prove a thing. Who said that? Please, wait. Mr. Amano. Miles, my boy, it looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others. Dad! Let's see. You are the one in charge of the investigation, correct? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh? Do you now? Is that what I think it is? I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea. Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There now. Agent Lang, please calm down. What the heck is that scrap of paper?
This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says.
What? The Chief of Police? What the... Just who does he think he is?
The person who wields the highest authority in this area.
There now. There's no need to be so upset. I'm not a cop from this land. so I'm not bound by the laws of your country. No. This wasn't meant to strong-arm you into anything. It's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of the land. I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand, it doesn't matter who found the evidence, its value remains unchanged. Now let's take a look at this new evidence. I've already got the results back. I had a special forensic research lab that I'm on good terms with conduct the tests. They verified that the blood on this costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren! What? You disappoint me, Miles. You would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you have no reason left to push my poor boy around. That's it. These are the case-making pieces of evidence. Ha! I'll be the judge of that. Looks like there's something inside the
The
costume.
Republic will be reorganized
Into the first galactic empire!
Hey, they sparkle! I bet they're really valuable!
Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. But why are they in here? Could this gun be the actual murder weapon? This bullet
Looks kinda burnt around the edges.
Wait, those burn marks were left by the gunpowder. This is a most important fact.
Why is that?
Because it's proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range. Otherwise, it wouldn't leave gunpowder burns. Well, are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen? Why have you suffered emotional damage, hon? And what does it have to do with the First Galactic Empire? Does it have to do with the Gerbil King I'm seeing right now? Partially, yeah. It's partially that. Oh, jeez. Gerbils and stuff.
Dee da dee da dee da do do dee da dee dee do.
Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun. And they prove that it was Lolly who killed Oliver. Oh, I know what I was doing was the hamster dance, but I thought of it when you said gerbils and stuff. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life. So, Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense. The fingerprints on the weapon, huh?
Oh no, this isn't helpful at all.
Look, Mr. Edgeworth,
all I want to do is save Lolly. But in the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes the punishment for her crimes.
That may be all you can do, however, I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie.
Hold it!
Those fingerprints. Are you sure they belong to Miss Pops?
There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensics techniques money can buy performed.
I find that to be a bit peculiar. What? Are you trying to pick an argument with me? Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pop's print should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why is... she was wearing a costume the whole time. It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon. Because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. But there's been no mistake! We found fingerprints! Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit back in the hideout. I handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house.
To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pop's prints found their way onto the gun. Do you understand now, Mr. Amano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer.
But you still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right?
You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer.
What? No way! I'm incredibly worried about her! But that doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right?
That's where you're wrong. I have the evidence.
What? How?
The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true, because that was not the real crime scene, but a setup. This proves the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all. Where is the costume he was wearing?
Take that!
Let us take another good look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe you will see why I insist he was not shot at the stadium. Because he was shot point blank. The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point blank range.
Huh. So then you mean the murder Miss Oldbag saw at the stadium really was...
Yes, she saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor.
Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then?
Bum, 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 da, da, dun. Chase down the truth. Everyone bang it. God, I love the song Chase Down the Truth. Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were just before I was imprisoned was...
the haunted house.
Take that!
I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house.
The haunted house?
Yes, and I have proof that it's highly likely the victim was killed there. Because fragments from the mirror are still in his costume.
Take that!
These were inside the costume the victim was wearing. They're fragments of a mirror.
A mirror?
And what does that have to do with anything? Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous.
However, there is one place I can think of where there is a plethora of mirror fragments. And that is the haunted house. Lance Amano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house. Lance Amano with the revolver in the haunted house. After that, you stole the blue Badgermobile to move his body to the Wild West area. The timing of when the blue Badgermobile was stolen confirms this as fact. Miles, my boy, say no more. I'm sorry, Mr. Amano, but I cannot do that. Be quiet! Yes, please do something! Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense! Ernest Amano, correct? I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. How dare you! I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. And to call these mere bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Sheena, wasn't there a mirror in the kidnapper's hideout?
Yes, there was a mirror there.
A mirror for the haunted house. You see? Isn't it possible the fragments got into the costume there? But Agent Lang, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low. Probability? Lang Z says, on truth's path, the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is, do you have the definitive proof that you need?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you?
Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? The answer is no. See? So since you don't have any, shut up! I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at the haunted house besides myself were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove that the murder took place at the haunted house, then I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder.
What now, Mr. Edgeworth?
Agent Lang, I have a special request. Yeah? I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house.
Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission?
Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth. Alright, permission granted. But you're not to touch a single thing, got it? That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is. Shina! I'm here. Put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately. Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval. Who is that? Now. Let's hold on for a second. There's no need to obtain approval. Mr. Amano. Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this. What is this? Gina!
It's the deed to the haunted house.
The deed? Read it out loud.
Gatewaterland Incorporated hereby bequeaths the property known as the Haunted House to Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash.
What? As you can see, I am now the legal owner of the haunted house.
Are you kidding? When did you...
I ran into the owner of the park earlier, and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye. That $1 million you paid. Don't tell me it was... Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used the ransom money? My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are, so if you would please discuss things with me from now on. Discuss? What is there to discuss? Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course. While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Amano was out there preempting us. Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Agent Lang, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever.
Are you sure about that?
Alright, while we're at this save, I'm gonna take a quick BRB to go use the can and maybe get myself a snack, because I am kind of hungry.
In all things, one cannot win with defense alone. To win, you must attack!
Alright, I'm back. And if that BRB text will go away when I tell it to, then... Thanks for the good luck, Aniv. Alright. If I can't get permission to investigate the crime scene, then the truth will be lost.
Hold it, hold it, hold it!
Okay.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing spacing out? Have you forgotten? There's only one thing you should do at a time like this.
And what is that?
When the people are in a bind, the hero of justice appears to save the day. Look, you just leave it to me. For I am Kay Faraday, the second of the great Yatagarasu.
But I thought you were a thief, not a hero.
The Yatagarasu is noble and is always a thief of justice.
That's... of course!
If we have enough information, I can recreate the inside of the haunted house with this. Plus, if we then factor in everyone's testimony...
You can recreate exactly what happened when I dropped off the ransom money. Agent Lang. Ah, so you want to use your little toy? Be my guest.
Okay, hang on! You're all about to witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood!
Detective Gumshoe! Is there a copy of the haunted house's blueprint among the police's reference documents? Yes, sir! We got it, just in case we needed it for the kidnapping case.
Alright, I'll input the haunted house data then.
What is this? Where are we? Even if we can't inspect the real location itself, the path to the truth slumbers here. Now then, I believe I'm ready to investigate the crime scene.
Okay, what should I recreate first?
You haven't figured it out yet?
Maybe I have and maybe I haven't. But I'm gonna make you do all the hard work.
Very well. I'd like to expect the moment in which I was ambushed by my abductor. I had just come out into the hallway after leaving the money inside the dining room. At that time, I saw a badger slumped over on the floor at the end of the hall.
What was a badger doing all the way down there?
I also thought it strange. However, I thought that maybe it was simply a mannequin that was set there for atmosphere. No, it was too dark to tell. All I saw was its silhouette. Then I started walking toward the exit.
And that's when you were struck from behind, right?
Yes.
But that's odd. The hallway's a dead end. Where did your assailant come from?
There's only one location I can think of. In the badger costume.
Take that!
That doll I saw wasn't really a doll. It was, in fact, a costumed kidnapper.
Oh, so he used the costume as the perfect camouflage to blend in with the rest of the house.
Precisely. He waited until I'd made the drop-off and was about to leave. Then, just as he saw me take a step toward the exit, he stood and launched his attack. I can think of no better hiding place than this.
Hey, not bad. I'm beginning to think I should steal this tactic for myself.
Just don't use it to do anything criminal, Kay. Well, Lance? What are you asking me for? As one of the kidnappers, I figured I should give you the chance to confess first. I was one of the kidnappers, but I don't know anything. I did come up to the haunted house, but I never set foot inside. I left Oliver in charge of picking up the ransom money. He didn't set foot inside. Is he telling the truth, or is this another lie? Alright, then you're claiming that it was Mr. Deacon who assaulted me? Yes, I'm sure it was him. Now to verify the facts of this recreation.
Hey, wait, these shards. There's something different about them.
Oh?
The ones we found earlier are thicker than the shards from these mirrors on this wall. And look, there's some sort of design on the back too.
And the pieces from that costume are certainly different from the other mirrors. What does this mean? Could it be that our pieces are not pieces of these mirrors? Hit on the right side of my head, just above my temple. There was a bit of blood, but it wasn't anything serious.
Ow, sounds painful.
Why are you smirking like that when you say it?
It's just your imagination. Now let's see. I wonder if there's anything in the hallway that could have been used as a weapon.
The prop sword is there.
Take that!
I have it. There was indeed one such object lying here in this hallway. A prop sword.
Are you talking about this thing here?
Yes. Although we did find it at the kidnapper's hideout. Wait, yes! It's possible that the culprit took it with him after using it on me.
To leave no evidence behind, right?
Correct. Luminol. Edgeworth said he bled a little. The culprit was wearing a costume at the time, so a fingerprint analysis is useless. But let's run a luminol test. It's possible some of my blood found its way onto this. Agent Lang, may I ask for your cooperation in this matter? Like I have a choice. Sheena, call the lab boys. Understood. Except for a dab,
on the left side, it would appear that the blade is spotless.
So it must have been the left side of the prop sword that hit you then, right?
But now the position doesn't make sense. Finally, I found a clear contradiction of facts about this sword. Except for a bit on the left side, this prop sword is absolutely spotless. However, if the culprit had used his left hand, the blood would be on the opposite side. If the culprit held the sword in his left hand, then the sword's right side would hit. Exactly. This prop sword has a large handguard attached to the hilt. It would be impossible to hold it with two hands while wearing a costume with such big hands. Therefore, if it couldn't be the left hand or both hands, it must have been the right. Not yet, Kay. There's no sense in changing anything yet. If you change the parameters to the right hand, it only create a new contradiction.
Take that!
The bad badger already holds a gun in his right hand, so he can't hold a sword in addition.
Hey, that's right! Then what now? If it wasn't in his left or his right hand...
It means that the one who struck me could not have been the bad badger. Are you paying attention, Lance? Mr. Deacon could not have been the one who struck me, which leaves only you as our primary suspect. Fine, it was me. I hit you. It appears that you lied to me yet again, but see how quickly they catch up to you, Lance.
Wait, isn't Lance left-handed?
Ah, yes, but that's what makes this deception all the more interesting. He used his right hand to make it look like Mr. Deacon had been the one to strike me. For you see, firing a gun with one's non-dominant hand is difficult. But that level of dexterity isn't required to swing a prop sword. Or should I say, the proto-badger.
You got it! Here I go!
Now we have a faithful recreation of the situation around the attack on me.
Alright! All we have to do is examine this new recreation and...
And what exactly is so funny, Agent Lang? That amusing little gadget sure packs a punch, right, Sheena?
Yes, it was all I could do to hold my laughter in.
Hey, don't make fun of little thief, you mean old werewolf!
He and Mr. Edgeworth bring out the best in each other.
You've had your little fun, but now it's my turn. I've sat quietly by, listening. But the crude conclusions you two keep spewing don't whet this wolf's appetite. There's no guarantee that your toy will always show the real situation at any given time. All it displays is whatever information you put in there, right? Well, when you put it that way...
Your suppositions are wrong. It's not your fault, so I'm gonna let you in on this. There's a trick to this haunted house. And what may that be exactly?
Here you are.
Now then, what you missed, girlie, is written right here in this pamphlet. The Seven Wonders of the Haunted House. The Disappearing Badger?
What is this?
I'd say that someone around here is fond of theatrics. And as you can see, they set a doll down at the end of this hallway for that purpose. Basically, the blue badger you saw was just a stupid doll. How can this be? Guess that throws your whole theory about it being your attacker right out the window.
That can't be right. Maybe the culprit hid the doll somewhere. And then he laid down and pretended to be it instead.
If the criminal couldn't even hide himself in the hallway, how could he hide a giant doll? Do you get it now? Thanks to your presumptions. Your logic started off weak and led you to the completely wrong conclusion. Now get off your high horse!
Mr. Edgeworth.
Okay, I wonder if you could please input the new information for me. You don't know when to quit, do you? I can't quit. Not until I can declare that I found the truth. Agent Lab, for the additional information, you have my thanks. There you go again. We'll see if I care.
That looks really weird. Look at how it changes from the blue badger into the proto badger all of a sudden.
If the slumped over badger was just a doll, where was my attacker hiding?
So, this blue badger...
Hold on a second here. There's something wrong with the blue badger.
Huh? Like what?
The way the belt is on him is opposite of how it should be. Did you make a mistake?
That can't be. I inputted the image data exactly as it is in the pamphlet.
So then, why is the blue badger dressed up in reverse? Okay, do you remember what you said earlier?
What I said earlier about what?
About how this building might as well have been a house of mirrors.
A house of mirrors? Oh! That would explain the reverse or mirror image.
Yes, this blue badger might be nothing more than the reflected image of a real one.
Then was the blue badger you saw just a reflection?
When I looked down this hall, I thought it was perfectly straight. However, if there was a mirror...
Oh, then it would actually form an L shape, right?
Precisely. I was deceived. The hallway was almost pitch black. And there was a beam in the way that obstructed my view of the other hallway.
Wait, but why build this place like that? Sounds pretty pointless to me.
Kay, this house is just another attraction at an amusement park. They created a mirror wall for a very specific purpose, one I can point out to you. For the disappearing badger trick. Doing this allows someone to make the blue badger disappear in a flash. Readjust the mirror. First, the mirror was constructed so that it could be moved. Then, beyond where the mirror was, an empty hallway had to be created.
Oh, so when they wanted people to see the blue badger, they would open the mirror?
And when they wanted to hide it, they simply had to close it again. This explains why the other side of these fragments have a design.
Ah, and if the pattern is the same as the other walls in this hallway...
Then when the mirror is closed, it would blend in with the rest of the walls. This is the mirror trick that this haunted house employs. And this also proves the existence of a hiding place for the culprit. It was a place that was outside my field of vision.
Take that!
There was a very large blind spot, one I could not see beyond, and it was here. If my assailant hit on the other side of the movable mirror,
Then you wouldn't be able to see him! He didn't even need to do anything to the blue badger doll!
exactly. All he had to do was wait for me on the other side of the mirror.
Wait, hold on! I just thought of something.
Yes?
Well, shouldn't the mirror wall be broken right now in reality?
Since we have a few shards of it, we can probably assume it is. Yes, it most definitely is broken. The question is, when was it broken? Since we found these inside the victim's costume, that would mean that the victim was there when the mirror was broken. Wait, that sound. Leave the money and go. Now! The sound I heard was most definitely the sound of a mirror breaking. Kay, I'd like you to input some new information.
Don't scare me like that!
Sorry, but I need you to recreate something for me.
Sure, whatever you need. So what do you need anyway?
If you could first recreate this hallway just before I entered the dining room.
You got it!
So we have the mirror. Now this. I believe this is how it was right before I entered the dining room. Although at the time I thought it was but a single straight hallway. And then I went inside. It was around then that I heard the sound of a mirror shatter.
You heard what? Then...
Yes, I believe it was then that the mirror was broken.
Okay, so then when you stepped outside into the hallway again...
The mirror wall should no longer exist. Kate, please recreate it.
Wait, but with the mirror gone, the culprit lost his hiding spot. So where did he go in his proto-badger suit, Mr. Edgeworth?
Ha! That's easy enough. With the mirror gone, he simply hid himself in the branch hallway.
This about wraps it up.
No, not yet. An even larger contradiction has now reared its head.
Huh?
Perhaps you didn't notice, but but this recreation contains a very troubling inconsistency.
Take that!
Okay, take a good look at the end of the hall. Exactly. The blue badger that I saw in reality is not here. This is the final point on this long chain of logic. The last remaining contradiction.
So let me get this straight. When you came out of the dining room, you saw a badger, right?
And that is precisely where the final contradiction is. Something that shouldn't exist was there before. Who or what do you suppose it was? I believe this is the real identity of our mystery badger.
Take that!
The badger I saw was in actuality the dead victim's body. What? Agent Lang, the entirety of my complete logic is my final decisive piece of evidence. The murder happened in the hallway of the haunted house at the time of the drop-off. And you can consider the moment I heard the mirror breaking to be the real time of death for Mr. Deacon. No! Maybe it was due to their fighting, or perhaps it was the life-shattering bullet. But no matter what the cause was, the hallway mirror wall was broken. Ha! You were in the house at the time, right? Are you telling me that you missed the sound of a gunshot?
Objection!
There were a variety of sound effects playing at the time. All for theatrics, I assume. The gunshot must have blended right in. Yah! Now then, I'd like you to recall something for me. Who was it that was with the victim at the haunted house? Who was the one who had the opportunity to rob the victim of his gun and use it on him? It was you, Lance Amano! It's not like I had a choice. Oliver turned on me all of a sudden. He snapped and turned violent right after I hung up with you. He shoved me to the ground and straddled me. I fought back as hard as I could, grabbed his gun, and just shot him. The bullet must have went through his body and shattered the mirror. If I hadn't taken his gun and shot him first, I would have been the one you found. He's a hardened criminal. He escaped from jail. See? That's justified self-defense. My boy was only trying to protect himself. That remains to be seen and will have to be resolved in court. Agent Lang, I leave the rest to you. As if you were the one in charge around here. Guys, arrest these two and get them out of my sight. Sorry, but you're not slipping away that easily, Mr. Ernest Amano. You tampered with the evidence so that you could cover for your son. What a great dad you are, willing to risk it all. Truly touching. By the way, do you know why I'm really here? And how could I possibly know the answer to such an asinine question? You wound me. I came all this way from across the sea just to see you, you know. You came to see me? What's that supposed to mean? I have a few things to ask you, Mr. Amano, about a case from 10 years ago. A case from 10 years ago? Oh, what's the name that you use here for that case? Sheena! It's case known as the KG-8 incident. The KG-8 incident? Oh, so you remember it? Good. Then you'll recall that the trigger in that case was the Amano Group scandal. Specifically, the charge of an internal smuggling ring. Smuggling. There's that word again. At the time, the person that was arrested as the ringleader was Mr. Amano's very own secretary, Mr. Colin Devereaux.
Father!
Even though you pushed the crime on your then secretary, Mr. Devereaux, I always suspected that you were involved with the smuggling ring, Mr. Amano. Mr. Devereaux was arrested in place of you, which is why when he broke out, you hid him from the police, right? You hid him in exchange for his silence on your dirty little secret! Now. Please calm down. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. Pretend to be ignorant all you want. We're taking you down to the precinct anyway for a nice long chat. What the? Who the heck was that? I'll take him down to the precinct if you don't mind. And who the heck are you? Oh yeah, this guy. I'm Jacques Portman, and I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case. Yeah, remember, this takes place before case 1. So. Don't jerk me around! This is an Interpol case, so keep your paws off my suspect! Sorry, but I can't comply. I've got the backing of the prosecutor's office. See, in this country, we prosecutors work with the police to bring cases to court. So if you could please cooperate with me here, that'd be great. Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? Sorry, but I hate prosecutors, the whole lot of you. Guys, arrest the 2 suspects! Oh, I almost forgot. Prosecutor Miles Edgewood, is it? I'd like to thank you. Thank me? Yeah, for working so hard to fulfill my goal.
Hey, is that any way to thank someone? And what the heck is that supposed to mean?
You were so relentless with Lance that you forced Ernest to tamper with the evidence. Thanks to that, I finally had a legitimate reason to arrest him. So how does it feel to bite the hand that feeds you? The hand that feeds me? I'm not sure I follow. It's no use pretending with me. You're the one, right? You're the corrupt prosecutor that's working for Mr. Amano in the smuggling ring, right? No, I would never do such a thing. What the heck? Our intel's never wrong. In your prosecutor's office, there's definitely someone working with the ring. Ah, so Agent Lang suspected my relation to Mr. Amano. That must be the real reason behind his antagonistic attitude. On top of that, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? There were non-stop rumors flying around about forged evidence with that guy. You're not twisting the truth behind those closed courtroom doors too, are you? The courtroom is a place where the truth is revealed. Well, don't worry. It's not only you. The whole lot of you can't be trusted. A prosecutor who never lost in 40 years? Every defendant must be found guilty? Fueled by that kind of thinking, is it any wonder that courts produce nothing but falsities and lies? It would seem that his disdain extends beyond just me. Rest assured, the next time we meet, I won't be so forgiving. So don't you forget it. Please wait. Agent Sheena. Why does Agent Lang hate all prosecutors so?
Lang is the head of the long-honored House of Lang in Zhengfa. The heads of all police-related divisions in that country were of Lang blood.
Were? What do you mean by that? Aren't they still?
They were revered, but that was long ago. They don't hold that sort of sway anymore. And it was all because of the courts.
How can that be?
A prosecutor once withheld and tampered with the evidence one of the Lang detectives found. That evidence's purity was tarnished and cost the Lang family its honor and trust.
But not all prosecutors are like that.
Even so, Lang will never respect the court again, or any prosecutor.
So Agent Lang is a man who hates all courts and is unwilling to forgive prosecutors. Man, what a piece of work that guy is. Come on, Jim, we'd better catch up. Yeah. We still gotta deliver that thing to the old man, after all. Yeah, you're about to kill him tomorrow. Detective Gumshoe, I believe it's time we wrapped up and headed out ourselves. Yeah, are you going home, Mr. Edgeworth? No, I've done nothing but be entangled in one mess or another after my return. If it's alright with you, can you drop me off at my office? No problem, sir. Lang is Zhengfa Batman.
Excuse me.
Yes? What is it?
Thank you very much.
Ah, it's okay. No need to thank me, pal. Just doing my job as a detective.
I guess I was fooled pretty badly by Lance. Oh, cruel fate! What's a woman to do when she's been hurt by the one she loves? And to think I never realized my father was right there. I never said anything to him. I'm a failure.
There she goes again, talking to herself.
Miss Pops, I wonder if you know why your father participated in the kidnapping?
No, I have no idea.
Your father died while he was trying to stop Lance. Which means that from the beginning, he had no interest in the staged self-abduction.
Wait, then why did he...
I believe it was because of your presence, Miss Pops.
Me?
Lance realized that the two of you were related. Which is why he used you as a hostage to coerce Mr. Devoray into cooperating.
Father.
As a felon, he could not tell you of his real relation to you. However, as the Amano family butler, at the very least he was able to watch over you. It was all he could do, but that was the shape of his overflowing love for you. Go on, speak your mind.
That is... Thank you very much.
You're welcome, although there's no need to thank me.
No, Lauren, stop. I mean, this man's so much older than you.
Looks like you've completely stolen her away, Mr. Edgeworth.
Way to go, sir!
Your technique is way beyond the level of a great thief.
What are you going on about now?
Wow. Your deducing skills may be sound, but you have no street smarts.
That's Mr. Edgeworth for you.
Yeah. I mean, he still hasn't figured out who I am at all. If you haven't remembered in all this time, I guess I'm just gonna have to say it. This isn't the first time we've met, you know.
What do you mean, pal? Mr. Edgeworth? How do you know this girl?
Looks like you totally forgot me too, Gummy.
Gummy?
Here, maybe this'll jog your memories. I promised I'd return this to you one day, remember?
That's... That single piece of cloth took me back, far into my past. To that fateful day 7 years ago, when I first met the then-child Kay. And Detective Gumshoe. Which we'll get to in Case 4! Turnabout Reminiscence. Turnabout Reminiscence is one of my favorite cases in the whole series. I love this case. Excited there, hon? But we're definitely not gonna start on it right now. I'd usually like to go for about 3 hours, but we're at about 2.5, and if we try to do this case now, we're not gonna get through it. So unlike Case 3, I do think I can get through Case 4 in one go. It's a bit shorter. More along the length of Case 2, so... And then we'll get to Case 5. Oh boy, we'll get to Turnabout Ablaze. long. Anyway. So yeah, we're gonna call the stream here. Bit short, but not too short. 2.5 hours, pretty good. So, I'm gonna go close out the YouTube VOD, and then we will find someone to raid on Twitch. Thank you for anyone who came to like and watch over on YouTube. It helps out a lot to get my numbers over there, too. I'm gonna be putting out some more videos there, too, hopefully. But we'll get to that when we get to it.